Hello, good to everybody. Shavua Tov. We're going to start now a review of Sugyah number 5. Is that what we're up to? All right, here we go. Starting on here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 from the bottom. Here we go. Boy Minei Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak. They asked a question from Rav Nachman to Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak. Hamaskir Bayis Lechavero. A person rented his house to a friend. Ba'asar on the 14th day. The question now becomes Cheskaso Baduk o Ein Cheskaso Baduk. What is the house treated? And with a chazak, with a status quo, with a certain presumption that it was checked, o Ein Cheskaso Baduk, or do we presume that it was not checked? In other words, what? He moved in on the 14th day. The owner is now out of the house, but is there a presumption that he checked the house on the previous night, which it was Or Lar Ba'asar, the night of the 14th? The Gemara now clarifies the question. L'may nafkamina. To what consequence is this question? What is the point of the question? L'shayle. Why don't they just ask him? Ask the maskir. Did he check or did he not check? The Gemara answers, the lesse lahai, he's not around, he's not here, dilishuluye, to ask him. And therefore we ask the question, la truche lahai mai. Do we go ahead and bother the socher to check on the presumption that it was not checked on the night before, or do we say that it was checked on the night before and therefore he does not have to go ahead and check it? Let's see some Rashis over here. Bar Ba'asar Shachar is by in the morning. Mi mechaskinan le lahai maskir. Do we give a chazaka to this maskir? Do we give a presumption on the maskir, the vadai bodko emesh, that he for sure checked it emesh on the previous night? Can mitzvahs chachamim, like the mitzvah, like the command of the chachamim, ilo, or maybe not. L'may nafkamina l'shayle lahai, to this guy, to ask the maskir in Badko im Lav, did he check or did he not check? My answer could go to Lese Lahai, maskir, the maskir is not here, limishle, to ask him, in Bayalant, or asking La Truche Lahai Socher, to bother this Socher, live dog to check, misafik, on a doubt, on the suffix, we don't know whether or not he should be checked or not. What's the halacha? Okay, so Amalu, back to the Gemara. Amalu Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak. Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak then said to them, Tanisuha, we learned in the Brisa, Hakol Nemanim, all are trusted, all are believed, al bir chametz, on the burning of the chametz, or the checking of the chametz. Afilu nashim, even women, afilu avadim, even slaves, afilu katanim, even minors. Rashi there says, Naman al bir chametz, leheyin, to testify, Barbasa, on the 14th day, Shabbat Balav, that the owner checked the emesh on the previous night. My time and them comes the Gemara and says, my time and mehemne. Why? How can they be believed? How can they be believed? Why shouldn't they be believed? Rashi points out, Hayla b'nei asudeninu. They are not capable of testifying. So therefore, lav mishum, is it not because the balav amira did too, even without their statements, their words that it was testified? Nami mechaskin lei baduk, we still would give it a chazaka that it was checked. The vaday lo avazel de rechachamim. This person for sure did not violate the chachamim's words and mitzvah. Fa'afilu amaretz, even if he's an amaretz l'shad dvam, for other things, chaver hu le'inyan bedika, he'll be a chaver for bedika. That calls reason, since all are zaris. So back to the Gemara and says, my time mehemne, why are they believed? Let's go now to the next Amud. La mishum dechaskaso baduk, is it not because La mishum chaskaso baduk, isn't it because there's anyway a chazaka, and therefore the testimony of these people, the little kid, the woman, the slave, is really pointless? Diksavar, because that Tana, high Tana, that Tana holds Akol Chaverim Heim Esav B'dichas Chametz. Everybody, when it comes to B'dichas Chametz, is considered to be a Chaver, somebody that is trusted to do the mitzvah properly. The Tanya, like we learned in the Brisa, the whole halach of a Chaver. Again, this Brisa is being brought just to give you the overall understanding what a Chaver is. It says over there in the Brisa, Chaver Shemeis, a Chaver that died. Ve'niach megura malea peros, and he left a storehouse filled with peros. Afilu heim b'nei yoman, even if they are 1 day old, harei heim b'cheskas mutukonim, we give that a chazaka that it was all separated from the shumas and maisros. In other words, no longer tevel. Even though the chaver had a day to separate out the shumas and maisros, because he is a chaver, we assume that he did it. So too Rashi says the same thing over here. I feel amma aretz, but by kol chavim esel badika, I feel amma, even a regular person that generally is not given such trust when it comes to mitzvos. However, when it comes to bdika, b'davar shumuchsa chaver mechaschinale, for this thing that he's muchsa now as a chaver, we give him a chazaka shelo ovar zmano ad she'asu, that the time did not pass until he did it. And here you have the case of a chaver, Tanya chaver haneman ha'maisros, that is trusted on separating shumas and maisros, umeis, and he died. Ve'niach megura malea peros, and he left a storehouse filled with produce. Afilu heim b'nei yomin, even if they are 1 day old. Shenismarchu hayom, that it was smoothed out, it was completed that day. Harei heim b'cheskas mutakanim. There's a chazaka that it was already fixed, already corrected and separated out. The vade lo yatz mitachas yado, for sure did not leave his hand ad shegomar kol mitzvaso, until the mitzvah was finished. V'hacha nami, here also kevin da'af Ami Aretz Chaverim, him here also, since even Ami Aretz are viewed as a Chaver al Habedika on checking Chezkasan Shebadkuhu. For sure there's a Chazaka that it was checked. So now the Gemara goes back and says, fine, so now Rav Nachman had this proof from that Brisa, but yet the Gemara now asks and tries to reject that proof. Umemai, why is that a proof? How do you know that the reason that you trust them is only because the house has a chazaka, dil mashani hacha, perhaps there it is different, mishum dika omre hane, because these three are saying that it was checked. Maybe you do trust them. Maybe it is their words that allows us to assume that the house was checked, not because it has a chazaka. So now the Gemara tries to support the proof and knock off this rejection and says, Atu amira dahane midei meshashe izbei. Again, Atu amira dahane. Is it now now their amira, the statements of these three people, midei meshashe izbei, is it really worth anything? Izbei yeshbo, does it have any mamashos? Does it have any anything substantial on their words? Elamai, but what is the reason why they are trusted? Is because the chezkaso baduk, because the house has a chazaka that it was checked. The Gemara then knocks off Rav Nachman and says, "What do you mean? If that was true, this brisa says hakol ne'emanim, that they are trusted. They're putting value on the words of the katan, the isha, and the slave. If you were right, kol habatim bechezkas bedukin bar ba'asum in boile, the brisa in boile should have said not the words hakol ne'emanim, that they all trusted. The brisa's point should have been that all the houses have a chazaka of being checked on the day of the 14th. The fact that it said hakol ne'emanim puts more stock in the words of these people and not in the fact that the house was checked. In fact, elamai, but what is the reason why it says hakol ne'emanim? What elamai? But rather, what is the reason? Mishumamir dahane. It is because of the words of these people, of the katan, the isha, the slave, and the katan. Hai lo amrehani. But it's clear that if they did not say that the house was checked, they would not be believed. In other words, the house would not be given a status of having a chazaka, and therefore tipshot minei, we should really derive from the brisa that ein cheskasa badak, that it does not have a chazaka that it was checked, because apparently it shows you that it was only because of their words. If it was because of the house being checked, the brisa should have said so. The fact that it said hakol ne'emanim shows you that you are relying on their words. But if you're relying on their words, that implies that the house does not have a chazaka, and that you need the words of the katan, the child, and the woman or the slave to tell us that it was checked. Now, this is the end of the quiz that is for Monday. We're going to finish the Sugyah soon, just to get it all completed. But until here, that's all that you'll be responsible for as far as the quiz is concerned. Let's just do the Rashis, and I'll give out the secret phrase for the quiz. Umemai. Why? How do you prove it? The hadiktarin nemanim. How do you know that when it says in the brisa the word nemanim taima, the reason was mishum dakol chaverim heim eitza badika, that it is only because they are all viewed as chaverim by bedika. Dilma, perhaps ein ami aretz chaverim, that really what ama aretz are not considered chaverim al kach on bedika, on this on bedika. The time the only reason is mishum dekomar, because it said hane, these were saying so. Anu re'inu shabalku, they said that we saw anu re'inu shabalku, that it was checked. And the Gemara goes further. If you were right, Rav Nachman, Kol habatim becheskas bedukim ibayle. It should have said these words. The misneh should have taught these words. The lo having lemislei b'mir dane should not have made the whole believability dependent upon the words of these three people. Umakshina, we ask, Ella, minatole b'amira, the fact that it tied it into, made the believability, the knowledge that the house was checked on their words, that you can make a diuk, you can derive the reverse. Hello, Omre, they didn't say their words. Lo, that you cannot rely that the house was checked. Imkain, if so, what are you asking the question? You should derive from the brisa the ein cheskasa badak, the reverse, that you do not have a chazaka on the house. Okay, so now the rest of the Rashi really goes on to the rest of the Gemara. So let's go back to the Gemara and finish up the Sugyah. Rav Nachman right now must change his strategy. Okay, just to know for Monday, the secret word for tomorrow, the secret halacha to write. Let's think of a halacha. All right, let's try to remember to make a bracha achrona on food. Bracha rishona for sure, a bracha on food, but I feel it is more common to forget the bracha achrona. Write down to say a bracha achrona for an extra quarter point. That's like 5 points on the quiz. Let's finish that the Sugyah. Rav Nachman right now must change his strategy, and he says the following. He says, no, don't take that approach, because I hold that there is a chazaka. La'olam emelach al tayu cheskasa badak, that the house has a chazaka.